Hey, a little bit. This is Purge, and I'm bringing you guys a pro game. It's going to be between, I forgot the team already. Epidemic. There we go. Epidemic versus Complexity. This is for the Star Ladder Pro League. That means it is the Tier 2 teams officially. When this was first organized in competitions, the Tier 1 teams were picked out, and at that time, Complexity was still a brand new team. It wasn't extremely exposed, so at the time, they got seeded into the Tier 2 bracket. Same thing with Absolute Legends, so this tournament is long in the running, basically, to get the teams thrown into here. So, but once this season ends, if Complexity and Absolute Legends have very good records, they'll be moved up from the Pro League to the Star Series League. Star Ladder, Star Series, something like that. It's basically Pro and Star. Star is better than Pro, apparently. So, anyways, the Star Series, or the Star Ladder, whatever, the Star section is mostly done. We're just waiting for the LAN finals in Kiev, which ends up being in a couple weeks. I will not be casting that for you guys, but hopefully you speak Russian, because it's going to be a LAN finals. It should be pretty cool. I believe it's Navi, CLG, M5, and who's the last one? Dare. So I think Dare has second best chance to win it. CLG is not bad either, but Navi is obviously the best team in the world at the moment. So expect them to take the win most likely. But anyways, this is for the Pro Series. So slightly less quality teams, but Complexity definitely one of the best teams in the world at the moment. Definitely top 10. They work really, really hard. I know these guys practice all of the time. So that's what ends up happening. So anyways, picks so far, we have a Lone Druid, as well as a Broodmother band, and a Lycan on top of that. So a lot of pushing heroes. Broodmother is, or I'm sorry, not Broodmother. Lone Druid as well as Lycan have had a lot of issue making it through the banning stage recently. I did get to see one Lone Druid game. It was from It's Ghosty, I believe, and they ended up pushing around 20 minutes and just ending the game. It was pretty fun to watch, but thus far, most people just don't like playing against it because it's kind of a pain in the butt. It really does put you on kind of a time limit. Really strong pushing carries that can really impact the team fight, but still also push very, very strongly. Leshrac is going to be the second ban out of Complexity, which will prevent that AoE Invoker. And now we have kind of a weird situation where it's a lot of really good heroes in the pool that maybe aren't pushing necessarily, but are still very talented. Chen is a pushing hero who's very strong. There's a Chen possibility, a Nature's Prophet possibility. Anti-Mage could always be thrown into the mix. And past that, I'm sure I'm missing a couple awesome heroes, but with Leshrac gone, Leshrac is probably one of those, in some ways I look at him as kind of a gimmicky hero at this point, because Edict is just so strong. You can take 2 towers by 3 minutes. If there's no one defending your lane, Edict will just absolutely shut down towers, period. There's very, very little that you can do about it, so it's going to be a Nature's Prophet ban from Complexity. This is going to give the Radiant team, Epidemic, the possibility for drafting a Chen right here, but Complexity could always counterpick with an Enchantress. An Enchantress is a great hero for shutting down Chen. You can do an offensive jungle if you wish. The cooldown and the mana cost of Enchant is much lower than Holy Persuasion, and both the abilities do the same thing. So what ends up happening is they go into the same jungle and they fight over a creep. So Chen could have a creep, and Chen would steal it, use abilities offensively, and maybe Chen could steal it back again. It's kind of a weird gamble and setup. But Beastmaster is actually going to be the draft for Epidemic, so that is going to be the first pick. This could allow Complexity to snag a Chen, as well as maybe an Anti-Mage or something like that. But the reason they did pick up the Beastmaster is to just start off their picks towards a potential Anti-Mage draft. If Anti-Mage does come into the pool, they are already slightly covered with this Beastmaster pick, because Beastmaster is a relatively strong hero against Anti-Mage. He has Roar, which is a very long disable. His axes do composite damage, which is part physical, part magical, so they hurt Anti-Mage a little bit more than the average spell. And additionally, he does give a damage attack speed bonus to all of his allies, which means bursting Anti-Mage down in short periods of time is always going to be a lot easier. So, Complexity actually goes for the teamfight draft. They pick up a Darkseer as well as a Venomancer. They were one of the first teams to actually just love playing Darkseer. They would play Darkseer almost every game, go for that Aghanim Scepter, and then everybody was like, oh my god, the turtle potential of this hero is ridiculously good. And then finally everybody caught up and started banning it. So I really do think Complexity was the front runners of that. They did really, really well with that. Other than that, Venomancer, great pushing, great counter pushing, wards going down. Venomancer ulti is also very strong. Sometimes is a little bit less impactful than it could be, but considering that you can just cast it and continue on your way, it ends up working out pretty well. So Venomancer is always going to be a very strong hero in the metagame, probably. Maybe not always, but for the next couple months I expect that to be the case. Definitely one of the most popular support heroes. partially because Venomous Gale is so good. I mean, the mana cost is like 95 mana or something for an AoE slow that applies a crap load of slow. It is just such a powerful ability. Venomancer doesn't get any stuns, of course, but all of his abilities thrown together end up being really, really useful. So looks like Epidemic is going to immediately draft a Storm and a Tide. If you just notice, they both pick those at the same time. It's a very smart little plan that you could do. You don't want to pick one at a time. If, for example, maybe Epidemic decided on either the Tide or the Storm Spirit very, very early on in the picking stage, they would have said, okay, we're obviously going to take Tide, but who's going to be our other hero? And then they sat there. They waited until they knew what both were. That way, Complexity would have less time to react. And since it was a Tide and a Storm, they may not have been expecting the Storm Spirit to get thrown in right away. So maybe Complexity is going to be thrown for a loop here. They have a minute and 20 seconds before they have to make their choice, but currently Epidemic's heroes are pretty strong if Complexity does draft the Anti-Mage. And Anti-Mage is kind of in a weird spot right now where he does still see play, but it's kind of a weird situation. When he does see play, he usually wins pretty handily, but not always. Occasionally he does get shut down, but basically teams pick heroes that have very, very good disables and are generally strong against Anti-Mage. You don't want to pick heroes that can be countered against Anti-Mage. And surprisingly, he isn't drafted as much, but I think that's just because teams are either sick of him or teams are getting better at countering him. So maybe they've had experiences of losing as Anti-Mage, something that wasn't really the case a month or two ago. It was like whoever gets Anti-Mage wins in some ways, but I don't know, we'll see what Complexity goes for. They definitely need a solo hero. Darkseer can always solo their bot lane if needed. They could go for something like a Sand King for more AoE teamfight. And they are going to draft the Anti-Mage, so they pick it up. Anti-Mage will be on Complexity's team, and now Complexity will most likely ban out heroes that are good against Anti-Mage for the second round. Namely, I expect to see a Crystal Maiden ban for sure. Her Frostbite prevents Anti-Mage from blinking. It's very good against Anti-Mage. And other than that, Crystal Maiden, Shadow Shaman is a possibility. He has lots of long duration disables, which are very good against Anti-Mage. Maybe we'll even see something like a Night Stalker. Those are all possible. But 2 more bans from each team. Epidemic gets to start things off.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
And they are down to 52 seconds, so could be pretty awesome. Not awesome. Queen of Pain ban is going to go down by Epidemic, preventing them from doing some high aggression ganking, possibly some nice team fighting as well. A little surprised about that. I don't know if Complexity likes playing Queen of Pain that often. There are some teams, if this was like Moscow 5 or something, I'd be like, oh yeah, they're obviously going to pick a Queen of Pain, because they draft Queen of Pain almost every single game, but not so sure if Complexity plays a lot. They're actually missing a ton of stunts, so I really don't think that they would even go for a Queen of Pain at this point, because they would just have an absolute lack of disables at all. So, second round bans, other than the Queen of Pain, we see a Rikimaru ban from Complexity, very smart targeted ban that is a good hero to fight against Anti-Mage with. If you can keep Anti-Mage in the cloud, he cannot blink, and Riki does a lot of backstab damage, so plenty of physical damage to burst on Anti-Mage and prevent him from blinking, and Riki is definitely a very strong counter against Anti-Mage for the first 35 minutes of the game, kind of a thing, unless Anti-Mage has obscene amount of farm, at which point Anti-Mage will eventually outfarm a Riki. So, also give me a Chen ban, and finally a Night Stalker, which is another hero that is very good against Anti-Mage because of the fear, prevents him from blinking once again. Enigma is going to be the 4th pick from Epidemic though, so they have lots of team fight at the moment. Enigma plus Tidehunter gives them great AoE possibilities. Malefice is also very strong, even against a hero like Anti-Mage, it works out very nice. And Complexity is up now, so possibly looking for another hero. They could grab a jungler as well. Maybe they'll even do an aggressive jungle. Not sure. They're going to go for a Sand King, though. That'll be one of their solos, most likely. They could do a tri-lane with Sand King, but it's very smart that they picked up that hero. Once again, they're lacking disables pretty severely, so throwing SK into that mix will give them some AoE stuns. And he has pretty low cooldown as well. I think it's like 11 seconds for Burrow Strike, so he can do AoE stuns on the enemy team multiple times in a team fight. That is probably, arguably, Sand King's most useful strength. His epicenter is obviously very good once you get a Blink Dagger, but before that, if you can just Burrow Strike every 11 seconds in a 22-second team fight, or like even like a 15-second team fight or something like that, if you can Burrow Strike twice, that's a lot more contribution than the average support hero or regular hero would be able to contribute. So there is that at least. Epidemic gets their last pick now, and they are probably, they could go for another support hero, maybe They might just leave it on Tidehunter. Tidehunter won't get that farmed if that's the case. Throw Enigma into the jungle. Tide supporting somebody. They kind of need a hard carry or a semi carry or something, and they have 29 seconds left. I'm not really sure what they're going to go for. Since Ricky is gone, that would be the obvious choice. And I'm distracted by chat, excuse me. There is so much chat rage going on right now. Tons of chat rage.
5 seconds remaining.
2 seconds, and they're going to go with the OD. So, cool choice. OD is argued to be a anti-mage counter, which is mostly true. The reason that OD works well against anti-mage is because his orb does pure damage, which means it goes right through the magic shield of anti-mage. His banish can reduce anti-mage's intelligence, and even in a late game situation, if you just banish anti-mage and prevent him from fighting for 4 seconds, that will make an impact. And his ulti is not very good against anti-mage, that's the main thing. It does magic damage in an AoE, but that will be heavily resisted by anti-mage's spell shield. But the other final thing from OD's advantage is that with his third skill, his Essence Aura, he is almost always at very, very high levels of mana, which means that if anti-mage wishes to ulti him, it usually won't do a lot of damage. It's not necessarily always the case. If we're talking about something like a Manta style, then OD is going to have some trouble because the mana will get drained fast no matter what. But OD also has the benefit of being able to own the crap out of illusions, so when the Manta Split comes through, the orb does extra bonus damage, like, I think it's up to 400 or something like that. 400 bonus damage against illusions, so you can kill them in 1 or 2 hits. Works out really nice. And Complexity's last pick is going to be a Shadow Shaman. Great pick because it does fill in their disables a lot. So I actually like this. I think both teams have very, very good picks, and I'm interested to see how this goes. OD is very squishy early, so if Complexity can keep the ganks up on OD and shut him down, Anti-Mage definitely will be able to outcarry this game. But if OD can get a fast Sheep Stick with the Force Staff, Anti-Mage is going to have some trouble. At least if he can get that Sheep before Anti-Mage grabs his Manta. If he has the Manta up, it could be a little differently. The team fight is better for the Radiant team, especially in the early game. Pre-SK Blink, they're going to have a lot better of an impact on the game. But I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Complexity, definitely the higher rated team, but I have seen Kranich play before, and he's very, very good. And the Czech players are not bad at all. So, all right, let's hop into the picking after I reduce my scroll speed because I'm good at remembering to do that. Done. All right, for the Radiant team, this is Epidemic. We have Professor Headshot playing the Beastmaster. We have Kranich playing the Storm Spirit. We have Ulfak playing the Tidehunter. We have Tulex on the Outlord Destroyer and Lassic playing the Enigma. For the Dire team, Complexity TC is playing his famous Shadow Shaman. Bot lane is going to be IX Mike playing the Venomancer with a Hannah Montana on the Darkseer. And then we have Jo playing the Anti-Mage. And finally, Fluff and Stuff on the Sand King. So goes for Sentries first. That means he's going to prepare to counter the pull here. Beastmaster going to drop them axes down, breaking up the trees, and doing a pretty good job. He missed one tree here, didn't really worry about this clump too much, but got this one as well. That way he can stand here and actually see in the river, which is important. Doesn't want to get jumped around behind. So now he's going to run back to base, refill up his mana. Good stuff for Beastmaster. And Anti-Mage actually cutting a path through. A little interesting. They could use this, I guess, to get behind possible heroes. Not really sure why they're doing that. Kranich looks like he's going to be soloing mid as Storm Spirit picks up Sentries first. Whoa. I don't know why he's got Sentries at level 1. That's pretty weird. Are they expecting to counter ward, or there's no... Alright, maybe he's expecting a Sand King to be mid. I guess he's expecting an SK mid, in which case Sentries would be worth it, but I don't know, kind of weird. Anyways, Enigma going to spawn some Eidolons from the top wave and taking the melee creep, and that's going to allow Beastmaster, or at least the top lane will push slightly towards the Dire or the Radiant side at the start of the battle. Bot lane is going to be an OD supported by Tidehunter. I love this supporting strat. Tide actually spent a lot on support items. Look at this. He's only got a Tango and a Salve up at the moment. So, interesting ward placement by the other Dire team. Usually you see this ward here, but this one is very unlikely to be counter warded. So I really like this adjustment here that Complexity has made. And are they going to actually do a Venos supporting a Darkseer? Surprising. We almost always just see a solo Darkseer, but by throwing a support in the mix on a typical solo hero, like even the OD, it really increases their possibility for surviving. So there is always going to be that. And Iron Shell doing some nice pulling, and so far great last hits from Hannah Montana. Picks up 3 last hits, very nicely done. Now TC versus Storm Spirit on the mid lane. TC is a very, very talented player. He has a pretty good advantage here, at least pre-6. Storm Spirit's going to have to be careful about the chain nukes and stuff. And Jo now level 1 still. Goes for Quelling Blade first, so opts for good last hitting power and missing a couple last hits there. But Fluff and Stuff doing some pulling. Has done a stack, so he will pull this into the creep wave. That's going to deny a lot of EXP. And Sentry Wards are actually shifting all the way to the bot lane, surprisingly. Gonna probably be put on IX Mike, and he will carry those for the early game, since there was no pulling top, or no counter pull at least. One Observer Ward here to give vision of any dire yanks, and one here in case there was tri-lane roam. So that's why they placed this ward here. They expected the dire tri-lane to be top. Instead it's a dual lane bot and a dual lane top, but very, very smart ward here. This is going to help protect the Storm Spirit in the early game. Definitely a hero that they want to keep alive. Now Venomancer going to pick up level 2. Another last hit from Darkseer. He's going to have a really fast soul ring here. I love the fact that they're dual laning this. Makes him much more viable. And if we look at the last hits so far, we're up to 7 on Anti-Mage, 8 on Anti-Mage. Might pick up this range creep as well. He's going to pick that one up. And other than that, we have really good numbers all around on the Dire team. The gold advantage is probably in their favor. Yeah, it is just slightly in their favor at the moment. Almost up to 100. That's about 2 last stated advantage. Nothing huge, but there is a jungling here for the Radiant team, so there's that at least. They technically have 4 places to farm. Not that SK can't pull, of course, so in some ways he is doing a similar strategy, but yeah, nice Iron Shell and Tulex taking some good damage there, and he's currently level 2. Great items. I really like this item choices. Tons of regen. OD usually doesn't buy a lot of regen, so going to lane with extra tangos and salves is oftentimes very, very good. But Fluff and Stuff might come in for the stun. We'll see if he gets it off. On Beastmaster, it's very, very close. He's not going to spend the mana, so just going to play it safe for now. Continue to let Geo get some last hits. Axes are going to slow down the push just a little bit here. And in the meantime, Fluff and Stuff will deny some good creeps, so nicely done. Every creep that you deny, obviously less EXP, no chance of gold going to the Beastmaster as a result. And we're going to see Shadow Shaman pop a haste rune on the mid lane, level 4 now, versus a level 3 Storm Spirit. Actually a very interesting item build. 2 levels of Overload. Pretty curious. But last hits so far for this mid lane, we have 12 and 7 on the Shadow Shaman versus a 11 and 2 Storm Spirit. So Shadow Shaman, lots more denies, up to 5 more denies, which shows in his EXP difference. And that's even with Shadow Shaman going for a rune, and continues to do a little Aethershock spam. Great plays from TC thus far. Doing some awesome denying. Enigma now level 3. Looks like he did get galed by the Venomancer, who took a little bit of damage, but pops a Clarity Potion up. Level 3 now, so level 2 wards. And Fluff is just camping, man. It is daytime, so Beastmaster obviously knows where he is at, but he's actually doing pretty decent, level 3, and surprisingly picked up the Caustic Finale. This allows him to push, also jungle a little bit more effectively, so neutrals over here he can clear a little bit better. Doesn't have the Sandstorm to go invisible, but if you play it smart, you really don't need it. And he'll probably pick up Sandstorm here, I would expect, but we'll see. Might go for stats as well. Oh, yeah, he does go for a Sandstorm, so good item, or good skill choices. Those little adjustments can oftentimes really increase your play by just a little bit depending on the situation. He's a good player. He's not going to have to rely on the invisibility to survive against a Beastmaster. So, and he's going to check the rune. It's actually going to be bottom, and there might be a chase for it. Yeah, look at this. Complexity doing a very, very nice job. Venomancer covering the bot rune. SK covering the top rune, and now they guarantee that Shadow Shaman picks this up and can continue his lane dominance. So I really like this play here by Complexity. Very, very good teamwork so far. Now Enigma's going to pick up a Soul Ring to continue back into the jungle. Darkseer on the bot lane. Does he have his Soul Ring yet? Doesn't quite look like it. He does have the recipe now. Picks up the Sage's Mess. Oh, I see, that's why. He actually picked up a Basilius here. Interesting. So went for fast Basilius. Going to be able to boost up the armor of his creeps. He is actually trying to push this wave, by the way. You can see the 2 armor here. And that also applies mana regen to the Venomancer, which is very important because he will be able to spam more wards. But still not a first blood, not a lot of roaming coming out. All of the lanes are very static at the moment. Enigma did try to gank the bot lane, but the Dire Ward was up, and they had Plague Wards in the jungle as well, and he's probably going to continue placing them down, and there he goes. Very smart play by Axe Mike. You always want to use these for vision. It's 20 mana or something like that. Yeah, 20 mana to give vision of a possible gank coming from the hero that you obviously know is going to be there. So, very smart decision making. And Storm Spirit now level 5 does pick up 2 electric vortexes, and TC is actually bottle crying a little bit, so sends his bottle all the way back home, and he is getting awfully close to his arcane boots. He's up to 686 or 690, sorry. And Ring of Health boots up on Anti-Mage as well. So Anti-Mage doing very well, is able to drain the mana out of Beastmaster very easily. He has actually still maxing out Axes first, which is kind of an interesting choice, but Eidolon's pushing forward to give some vision here. Just wants to be careful. He does not get caught, and he will pick up a little bit of a ward, but TC now level 6 versus a level 6 Storm Spirit, so just a slight advantage here. And this is going to be the point in the game where we'll see more ganking. It's now nighttime, so the vision range is reduced for everybody in this game. and you have to reward at this point. And if we look at the wards thus far, nothing really happened. Stormtrooper is going to find, nice, great play by SK, pops the regen, goes invisible, gets a stun off. That was absolutely huge by Fluff and stuff. Preventing Stormtrooper from having a regen at this point is really awesome. A Stormtrooper with a regen is scary, man. You can get so many kills and do a lot with that mana. So awesome gank by Fluff and stuff. Once again, complexity controlling the runes and preventing this bottle from being that useful for Kranich. And going on the Beastmaster, there's the ulti, a couple more hits. The tower is going to get JO at least. So nice play by Beastmaster. He actually didn't have a roar there. He literally just auto-attacked, and JO a little bit overzealous perhaps, but it was first blood. Surprisingly, 6-minute first blood does happen. Gank coming bot as well. And Darkseer's going in. He wants to kill this OD. There's the Gale. It's taking pretty good damage at the moment. Huge damage actually from the Ion Shell. And Tulex in a lot of trouble. Great ward block from IX Mike as well. And Tulex is going to go down. Looks like at least one of these guys is going to die. IX Mike eating the Malefice, and a couple more. There's the Vacuum, slow this down. He might actually be able to get a double. We'll see the Ion Shell on Ofak. There's the Surge. He needs another Ion Shell. There's a great black hole coming out of Lasek. That's going to guarantee that Tide survives. TP coming through by Beastmaster as well. A little unnecessary, but awesome play by Epidemic there. That was very, very smart. A little bit too overzealous by the Darkseer. Unfortunately, his Ion Shell ran out just as he went to be aggressive, and even if he did have that off, I think the black hole would have kept him up. So great plays so far by both teams. The first blood did go to complexity, but in a very short period of time after that, we saw a lot of kills happen. So TC did not get a kill. I think, did I actually catch all of those? Anti-Mage, Beastmaster, Darkseer. Yeah, I caught everything. Hot damn. 5 kills in a very short period of time. So here's the Banisher. Whoa, Ion Shell doing damage through that. That's a bug. Creeps will be cleared pretty easily. Tulex is going to take more damage. He doesn't have any regen at this point, so every little bit that he takes is problematic. And the Astral Imprisonment does reduce the intelligence of Darkseer, so less mana, less damage as well, since he is an Intiro. And once again, SK going to control runes. Very nicely done. Ball lightning going on TC. We're going to see a roar as well. Burst damage coming through. Looking for axes, and yeah, TC is going to go down. Tried popping his bottle, not going to get it off. And rune is actually top, so SK going to go mid for a temporary amount of time here. And possibly go snag the rune. It's going to be an illusion though, and he's going to try to get there in time, but Stormtrooper will beat him to it, and it is nighttime, so I don't know if he spots it, and now realizes that it's gone. So I'm going to miss the kill on the bot lane. Venomancer gets picked off. OD snags that kill. It was a Tide Ravage actually, so spent a lot of mana on that one. And items coming now. It's going to be a mech up on OD. Cool choice. This is a arguably, some people think that this is a stupid item build, but it's really not that bad when you think about it. Odie is a very, very glass cannon hero. He's very squishy on average. He doesn't have an escape maneuver, so it's kind of like Silencer. You want to put a mech up on him sometimes. So he'll be drafting the mech here. He'll be building that at least. It'll boost up his armor levels. It'll give him stats of all kinds, so that increases his damage as well. And he has a pretty much unfailing mana source from Essence Aura. So if you put a mech on him, he can afford the mana cost, and it's not a huge deal at all. Complexity wants to do gank though. And he did get the headdress first, but here comes the gank possibly. We're going to see a Surge on the Venomancer, and he tries to get the block off. Doesn't get it. Gale's going to miss as well, and this looks bad for Complexity. Enigma's actually here. TP's coming in. This is going to be a 4-on-3 looking for the Malefice. Goes on Venomancer. Stormtrooper bursts in looking for the Vortex. He's actually low on mana. There's the Hex as well as the wards being dropped to do some damage, but IX Mike surge forward, and actually looks like he will survive. There is a vacuum, but a lot of trouble now for Hannah Montana. Surge is on cooldown. There's the ulti, and TC in a weird spot. He does use the Shackle, looking for a shock in another 3 seconds. I think he's going to get this kill, at least he does, but he does get picked off by a couple more hits. There's a Courier here. What is the Courier doing? It's a Radiant Courier, I guess. And a couple more wards go down, so not so good for Complexity thus far. Losing 2, taking out 2. They actually got Storm. I did not see Storm die. Missed that one, sorry about that. Storm goes down, so that was a 2 for 2, not too bad. Beastmaster actually going for phase, surprisingly, getting him better last hitting power as well as movement speed. If you're up against a melee hard carry who does chase you, this is a nice item to have, so awesome stuff thus far. Let's check actual farm totals. Anti-Mage's gold per minute at the moment is up to 365, so he's better than everybody else in the game at the moment. The gold graph itself, slightly in the Radiant team's favor, but pretty equal. Anti-Mage is going to be the harder carry. It's hard to say. OD is one of the strongest carries in the entire game, so I could see him doing very well. He's going to pick up his Buckler next. His mech will be finished. That's going to boost up his survivability by a lot, and also the armor will apply towards any anti-mage mana burn. So it's going to be it's a very nice item choice. It's not as offensive as something like a Force Staff or something like a Rod of Atos or something, but it's not a bad item. Now looking for the stun. He's going to epicenter as well. Is it going to come off? No, he gets stunned just barely in time. Great response by the Enigma. He's just going to Black Hole it and a Tide Ravage. They actually overtime these just a little bit, but Fluff and Stuff will get picked off. Venom's going to ulti this one, wants a kill on Lasek, and probably will get it here. A couple more poison hits. Great deny from Tulex. That was an awesome play, and thus far, Epidemic actually performing quite well in this game. 8-5 at the moment. Wow, awesome job. You can deny allied heroes who are taking venomous scale damage, so that's why he went for that hit. An awesome play by Tulex. Saves Complexity from getting some gold and a much needed EXP and farm, so thus far, very, very equal game. Dire team outlaning slightly. Anti-Mage apparently almost dying top. That was a Roar as well as a Storm Spirit hopping in, but not enough burst damage. He's actually got 3 levels of Spell Shield, and that's part of the reason that he survives. Actually, he picked up a Vanguard. Wow, very smart choice here. Vanguard pickup by Anti-Mage gives him a lot more survivability, damage block, as well as the nice regen. And usually you see Anti-Mages go for fast Battle Furies, but they can't really do that as much now. A lot of people are much better at countering against that. And there's Krennic, going to drop an Observer Ward down, see if he takes too much damage. Bot Tower was taking some damage, a couple Plague Wards. And Fluff and Stuff going to roam towards the top lane, while the top tower takes a bunch. Anti-Mage still regenning up, so we will see a little bit of an engagement here, but TC's on the way, picks up the DD. Oh, the Radiant Ward did spot this hero movement, so immediately they are going to back up. And yes, Beastmaster is going to TP away. We'll see if Storm Spirit does the same. Fluff and Stuff's going to look for him. He might actually find him. He does have a lot of mana, so even if he gets stunned, he could get out of this, but he's just going to hide in the side jungle. He's actually purchasing items, and Storm Spirit will leave, so that works out for them. And everybody on Complexity now buying TP scrolls. They still have not lost a tower yet, so game is still very equal. Looks like mid tower went down. That was a Shadow Shaman picks up the mid tower, so did he use wards on that? He might have, not sure, but takes out mid tower. So Complexity probably back in the advantage, and yes, 1 tower advantage, 1,000 gold for their team. And Shadow Shaman being very careful for now. His HP is definitely low. He has to worry about Storm Spirit jumping on him, and follow up from Eidolons as well as Enigma. And he's getting closer to his Blink Dagger. Once he does grab that, it's going to be a lot easier to gank the OD, who is getting closer to the mech. And IX Mike now in position, level 7, might drop some wards, and there's a little bit of Eidolon spam. Those will get picked off immediately. And in the meantime, Anti-Mage is still counter-pushing top lane, getting lots of EXP and farm. So he's up to level 9 currently. Enigma's going to show up to defend this one. And he's going to have to back off. He's going to eat a Malphas, actually. He's going to blink away. Good choice. Prevents a little bit extra damage from going down. Complexity has to be so careful because of the Storm Spirit. His gank potential in the mid game is so powerful. You can just ball lightning in and be somewhere that you don't expect him to be. Fluff and Stuff actually using a smoke here and going to go hide in the jungle. Once again, he does have Arcane, so he's pretty reliable roaming. I love the fact that he picked up a Tango as well, just to boost up some of his HP heals. He might actually get caught by Beastmaster, though. He's kind of in a weird spot. Nobody's even close to him. I don't necessarily agree with his choices at the moment, but if they find him, he is dead, man. He is completely surrounded. There's TC on the other end. He is going to be coming in. There's the Roar, and TC in a lot of trouble. Beastmaster showing up, and there's the burst damage. He's going to stun through, looks for the epicenter as well, and he will get the damage off. But unfortunately, Beastmaster using the phase and running away, and Fluff and Stuff goes invisible and going to slowly run away now. Looking for a pig. There's still no pig up. At least nothing spawned, and tough loss once again for Complexity, trying to bait out the dive. SK was in position, but they didn't know that Beastmaster was there, and the Roar came through, did enough burst damage to shut him down. Now Geo on the top lane, picking up a Ring of Basilius, probably will go for a Fast Vlads to get some early game viability here. The rest of the Radiant team pushing it mid. Fluff and Stuff's going to snag a haste, going for an Urn next, good choice. And possible gank on the bot lane. Darkseer is going to be diving in, but there's a TP actually. Iron Shell doing a little bit here. A lot of damage actually to Tulex, but his mech is ready to go. He's actually have to heal up from this for sure. Iron Shell, so good, man. It is really good. Let's see if he saves it. He might just cast it now. His HP is still very low, but that's a 250 HP heal, so you can look at that as pretend that he has 250 extra HP, pretty much. The rest of Complexity shifting back towards the jungle, gonna pull some creeps. I love it when Venomancers do this. Drop a couple wards down, pull the creep way back and forth. You don't need a lot of farm at all to do this. And as you can see, IX Mike only has a magic wand right now with a couple observer wards. So another Malphas goes down on Anti-Mage. You might think about jumping in at this point. Tower's going to take a little bit of damage from the catapult. The rest of Complexity is shifting over due to wards up on Shadow Shaman. He's still 500 gold away from his blink. That must have been really painful dying mid, since he was so close at the time. And IX Mike also going to shift over. In the meantime, Hannah Montana still bottom, goes for Arcane and a Soul Ring, surprisingly, and a Basilius. That's 3 mana regen items, way more than you typically see. He hasn't even started towards his pipe yet, which I expect he will be getting. It's almost always a pipe up on Darkseer. Tower's still taking damage. It's not quite deniable, but I think they're going to wait till, I don't know, the rest of the team to come in. There's going to be a stack. Nice little thing that you can do in the meantime. Give Anti-Mage a little bit more farm here, or even the SK. And Shadow Shaman's still about 300 gold away from his Blink Dagger. Beastmaster really not that farmed either, just Phase Boots, Wand, Stout Shield. He's got 900 gold in the bank, but hasn't really spent his money on very, very strong items quite yet. He's going to pick up the Invisibility, pops his phase first, snags that up, and he's going to be looking for gank. Might be able to catch Hannah Montana. Once again, Hannah Montana doesn't have a lot of regen or tank items at the moment, but here come the TPs. This is going to possibly save him. Fluff and stuff in position. There's the Ion Shell. And Radiant Team is going to try to push this down, but now at least they know what's over there. Staff of Wizardry is picked up on OD, so his damage is going to be very high. He's going to be looking for the ulti. Creep Tower is taking a little bit of damage here. Still about 15 seconds left on the Beastmaster ulti. Is Complexity going to be able to win the team fight? I don't know, man. Roar plus AoEs is so scary. Even the OD ult right now does damage based on how much intelligence he has over his opponents, so can definitely do huge amounts of damage, especially to these low HP, especially low intelligence heroes. Fluff and stuff actually going for a little bit of Burrow Strike. He's going to come in from the side. I don't know if he can walk through here or not. I'm going to assume he probably can't. He'd ideally be in this position, but this is going to give him the chance to do a Burrow Strike Epicenter from the trees without having a Blink Dagger. And in the meantime, Anti-Mage is still counter pushing, so the Radiant team did not feel safe about that. Great defense by Complexity. I mean, you could say that they didn't really defend a whole lot, but just being there and in good position, and nobody got caught either. And now they're going to turn this into a push. In the meantime, Anti-Mage still free farming, just about to finish his Manta Style. And Complexity will go and try to take the tower right back, but they still have to worry about those team fights. Team fight abilities, man. Black Hole as well as Tide Ravage. They fill so many holes in mistakes that you make and things like that. And here comes the attempt at a deny. There's the banish, and OD is going to get the deny. Great play by 2lex here, and Anti-Mage is going to be saddled down. He actually goes aggressive. Going to take some pure damage, though, hitting for about 80 bonus. So scary for Anti-Mage, and here's the Vlads at least. So he will have the Vlads picked up. We'll give him some armor as well as lifesteal. Not the best item to have against an OD, actually. Will increase his mana regen over time, but the downside is that the armor doesn't do a whole lot when he's hitting for pure damage. And by that, I mean it does absolutely nothing. It does block some of the physical components, but that's about it. So bot tower still being defended. Going to use a vacuum on a Hawk. Awesome play there. And if we look at the gold graph for it, just a slight dire advantage. They want to wait this game out. They want to get a Blink Dagger, or they want to get a Manta Style up on Anti-Mage as fast as possible, so that he can be aggressive. He's going to start draining some mana out of the OD. He immediately banishes, regens up to full, and the int level of Anti-Mage is going to continue going down. He's actually got a lot of int drain right now. 16 int points completely gone out of his pool. If we look at individual CS totals, 113 on JO here, 82 on Shadow Shaman, 52 on Darkseer, 32 on Sand King, and 25 on Venno. So Venno doing pretty well. And for the Radiant team, 95 up on OD. We have 80 on Storm, and 81 Enigma, and 38 Beastmaster. So those are the last hits. Might see a gank in the jungle. TC gets jumped on. Anti-Mage hopping, and Storm Spirit coming through. There's the Axes looking for wards. He does actually ward trap at least, but still alive. Oh, the ulti from OD coming through. Going to clean up. Beastmaster drops at least. Fluff and stuff looking for a stun, but probably not going to get it. Every hit on Kranich is huge. He uses the regen to get away, though. And AM's mana is a little bit too low, so they're going to be able to get away there. That was a Blink Dagger. He does have the Blink Dagger, but he got jumped on once again, so Storm Spirit keeps dying this game. Not at TC's misplays, but just the great ganking from the Radiant team. They had the Greater Hawk up, and it was nighttime, so he didn't see it coming. Not a whole lot he could do about that one. In the meantime, as you can see, he went from having no mana to having nearly full mana. A couple Arcane Boots does some really good work when your mana is drained. And the tier 2 tower now taking some good damage. Surprisingly, Complexity is continuing to push this. There's TP coming in. That's going to be Tidehunter. Somebody's getting caught. Tide is going to be looking for the Ravage after this ulti ends. And there it is. It's going to catch Fluff and stuff. Tries to Burrow Strike out, but is going to get caught and goes down immediately. Wall of Replica is used. There's the Vacuum, at least doing some nice damage, actually. But Mech is popped. Continuing to chase, looking for the banish, and not looking good. Venomancer is going to get caught as well. Hannah Montana just going to run away. And Complexity did not need to stay there. IX Mike pops his ulti off at least. Does a little bit of damage, but that's really not going to do a whole lot other than forcing these guys to go back to base to heal. In the meantime, where is Anti-Mage at? He has been in the jungle, up to 1,400 gold now, and the graph is still in the Dire team's favor, surprisingly, but that's mostly because they have a 2-tower advantage. If those towers go away, all of a sudden, Epidemic is going to get the advantage up again. So, thus far, tower taking some good hits. Hannah Montana is in the jungle. Roar was up, so has to be very, very careful here. But this tower is going to get picked off. And thus far, great plays by Epidemic. They're actually going to go into TPs are coming, man. There's the Roar. Great vacuum as well, doing some good AoE damage. And Fluff and Stuff coming for the stun. Lands on the Tidehunter. Tidehunter ulti on Tulex as well. And a couple more hits. Gets the kill. Anti-Mage coming through. Out of mana, though. Going to continue some last hits. Looks like Tide's actually going to juke this. He doesn't have a TP scroll, though. They might have forgotten about him. Stun on the Beastmaster. And the Black Hole catches two. Complexity's Fluff and Stuff taking some burst damage. He goes down. Jo as well. There's the Malphus. There is the Gush. And he is going to blink out. And Storm Spirit committing to the next follow-up. And a couple more bursts and nukes. And Jo needs a TP or blink. Blink away. Oh, 20 HP. Ends up barely surviving. Axes come through. And wow, that was close as hell. Still not the best situation for Complexity. They didn't get Tidehunter. They killed OD at least, but they still lost a lot of heroes. They lost Venomancer. They almost lost Anti-Mage. He was 20 HP away from dying. Picks up his Yasha now, so his attack speed is going to be good. But Epidemic playing an excellent game thus far against Complexity. Now Venomancer towards the mid lane, up to 48 gold. By the way, guys, if you're having any stream issues, please press the report button, video report button. It's under in the bottom right corner of the stream. There's a report stream problem button. And in the jungle, it's going to be Fluff and Stuff as well as Ike's Mike. Thus far, Fluff and Stuff not able to grab a Blink Dagger. That's important. Hasn't been able to get really good epicenters off quite yet. He's going to continue farming, though. Can do so quite well with Caustic Finale. Mid tower being a little pushed in the meantime. And Hannah Montana does pick up a Ring of Health. Might just go for a Vanguard instead. Could be either. He's going to do some stacking here. He's going to give Anti-Mage somewhere to farm later in the game. Speaking of which, where is Anti-Mage at? He's actually pushing the top lane. OD is going to deny the bot tower, so okay. It's good. Gold loss for Complexity, but they do also pick up a little bit. They weren't even pushing there, so it does give them map control either way. So 3 towers now missing for Epidemic. They're going to have to adjust their wards just a little bit. If we actually look at the map, they have nothing up at the moment. Storm Spirit does have one, 3 actually, and he's got his Bloodstone picked up, so great item choices by Storm. So will allow him to have tons of mana regen, good HP as well as mana. Kind of interesting how Storm item builds changed. But bot tier 1 tower looks to be in a lot of trouble. There's no glyph. This tower is dead no matter what. And Beastmaster's going to snag the last hit, so good pickup by Epidemic thus far. Complexity a little slow to react to this one. Ooh, they're going to put an Observer Ward up. That will be counter-warded in a second. See if they ping that one. They might even jump on the Venomancer. See if they realize there's the Plague Wards, and luckily he doesn't get caught, but that was pretty dangerous for IX Mike. His ulti is ready to go. Might get jumped on. Yes, the bird does scout it out. He does do the Gale, lands on a lot of heroes. Might ulti this as well. Does get the ulti off, catching 4 actually. Great ulti by Venomancer, and the chase comes in. There's a Hex on OD. Tide ulti is going to catch everybody on Complexity. Looking for the wall. No! Darkseer gets picked off right off the bat. Looks like he bought back or something. No, he got banished? What happened? AM goes down, though, and that's a triple kill for OD. And Epidemic playing an excellent game here. Awesome team fight heroes. Picking off everybody at the start of the fight. I was looking for a wall of replica. I don't know if it got used or not. The wards are still down. Might actually kill this Beastmaster. No, he's survivable enough, but takes some good hits, pops the wand, and now they might actually try to take the Roshan. Everybody got very, very low there. There's a huge ulti from Venomancer. Even him getting caught wasn't that bad because he did Gale like 3 heroes as well as ulti on 4. But unfortunately, the other team fight coming out of Complexity was not enough to shut him down, so Epidemic now pushing up the mid lane a little bit. There's going to be a TP support from Fluff and Stuff. He still is not even vaguely close to his Blink Dagger. 24 minutes in, not a good situation. Beastmaster snags the last hit, and the Radiant advantage, yeah, it's surely high. 5k advantage in climbing. So they are finally making up for the tower advantage that Complexity previously had. Creep Wave will get cleared. Fluff and Stuff picks up the gold up to 800 gold. They really do need a Blink Dagger. I don't think they can win this game without a Blink Dagger on SK. It's just going to be so tough. I like that Kranich is the one that's doing Observer Warding. If he does, he can always go into enemy territory and drop down Observer Wards. Because if he gets caught, ball lightning across the map. No problem, man. Alright, Sand King in the jungle still, up to 900 gold. And we do have a Blink Dagger still up on Shadow Shaman. He's got an Ogre Club, going for a BKB most likely. Will be nice to have that. Tide Ravage is probably the nastiest ability they have at the moment, just because of the AoE of that. It's huge. Stuns everybody in this range unless they have magic immunity, so that's why you need those BKBs up. BKB is also going to protect you from OD as well. OD cannot orb anybody that's magic immune. He also cannot ulti anybody that's magic immune. Works out very, very nicely. And Sand King up to 1,000 gold now. TC defending mid, I hear a Storm Spirit. He's going to jump on the bot lane. It's going to be Ice Mike once again getting picked off. Doesn't even get his ulti off at this time. And once again, the Hawk, man. Hawk scouting out so many good things. I assume that was Hawk, actually. Did he counter ward? Oh, he was counter warding. I see. He was trying to counter ward here. Was not able to pick it off, so Radiant Team Epidemic does catch him in time. And Jo in the jungle does have his Yasha, so does have enough for his ultimate orb now, but still a little bit away from his Manta style. 650 is the number. And Pipe is up on Beastmaster, so they will have some good magic resistance in the team fight. And the rest of the heroes in position. Vanguard up on Darkseer, giving him some raw HP. Smart choice. And some Iron Shells on Anti-Mage. Actually, Sand King. But mid tower is taking a lot of damage. Team fight from the Radiant team is just a little bit too strong in my opinion. In the meantime, Anti-Mage counter pushing, so they will trade towers here. Awfully good trade for complexity, considering the fact that they don't feel safe pushing at the moment, or they don't feel safe team fighting. So Anti-Mage is going to take a free tower. So great play by him so far. Radiant takes the tower and backs off. And he's going to blink and TP. That's going to give him his Manta style. And there it is. Manta style plus another TP scroll. So he will have some great contribution in the team fight. Item after this is where he starts getting ridiculous. Usually it's just Manta style, but since he went Vanguard as well as Vlad's first, it gives him the best early game viability. And this will shift him into more of a team fight role. But it looks like Epidemic is going to be taking the Roshan. There is a Hawk on the high ground spotting things out. Dire Team is going to show up to this, but we'll see if they continue. They're actually spread out. I don't like their positioning at the moment. You do not necessarily want to fight from two sides here. Anti-Mage coming in, TC as well. There's the Hex looking for the Ward Trap. Wards go down, but immediately TC getting chain bursted, and a Black Hole going to catch everybody, including Anti-Mage and the nukes. Geo goes down. Fluff and Stuff is going to stun through, but 2 Lex picks up the entire enemy team. The disables from the Radiant team are just too much, man. Everybody disabled, and OD is just cleaving the hits. Team fight plus OD wins you games. The burst damage, I mean, he's doing like 150 pure per hit. He had his sheep ready to go. They black holed the Anti-Mage, and that was it. Couldn't do anything about that at all. And Epidemic looks completely geared up to win this game. Anti-Mage not pulling the win this game. They were able to keep the OD farm up, and the teamfight AoEs on top of that allows him room to own it up in the teamfight. So great plays from Epidemic. This is at least a single Rax here. I don't know if they'll continue. All their ultis are on cooldown. And they're actually going to pop a drum, so picking up the melee. They're even going to go for the range barracks. Smart decision making here. Complexity looks like they're going to take a loss. It's not over yet. There's a BKB up on Enigma now, so he's going to be magic immune even. But surprisingly, Anti-Mage is not able to contribute a whole lot thus far to the team fight. I mean, the GPMs are probably very good in his favor. He's up to 423 gold per minute. He's farming very well. Not as good as OD, but still quite well. And they're just at a huge disadvantage, man. Damn. Look at the KDs for everybody on the Radiant team. They are doing so well. Their lanes were strong. They didn't gank that successfully, but they traded very well. I mean, Complexity was basically not able to get an early gank lead or an early laning lead like they maybe should have. They never were able to kill Beastmaster because Professor Headshot played very, very safe. Bot lane went pretty good for Darkseer, I feel like, but mid lane, I don't know. The lanes broke even, and OD was able to get comparable, if not better, farm than Anti-Mage, and teamfight AoEs really putting Epidemic in a strong lead. So that's the reason they're doing so well. There's Boots of Travel picked up by Kranich now. Up to 2,300 gold. Creep waves are going to be cleared. Oh, he does have Blink Dagger. I was going to say, no Blink Dagger still. He finally gets his Blink Dagger in 30 minutes in. Finally going to see some Epicenters, an ability that literally has not been executed yet. And Hawk on the high ground, they're looking for the kill. He's going to use Phase Boots to initiate, waiting for some follow-ups. Enigma's coming. He's got a Blink Dagger ready, and Venom might be in a lot of trouble. Here comes the chase. Phase Boots. There's the Blink. There is the Malefice. Ix Mike going to get picked off once again. He dies over here so often. It's like his 3rd death in this geographical area, but not the best game for Complexity. So gold graph, 12k and climbing for the Radiant team. Anti-Mage doing his best to farm up as fast as possible, but Well, they're actually going to jump on Tulux here, looking for chain stun. There's the vacuum. Force staff as well, need another stun in 6 seconds. There's the surge for it, and Tulux has to commit, looking for the ulti. He's going to ulti it. SK goes down. Anti-Mage is going to barely survive, pops the wand, almost dies. Stormtrooper pursuing. There's the Manta split, looking for another blink in 2 seconds, and the ball landing down the Malefice. It's going to be close. He blinks away. One more hit, one more Malefice. Oh, he's alive with 12 HP. Oh, and Enigma picks it up. Odie gets a double kill. Odie is still alive, burns the Aegis there, but cleans up so hard. 3 from Complexity go down. And that is a lot, in a lot of ways, their last chance at winning this game. Mystic Staff up on Odie as well. Probably going to be a Shiva's to give him a lot of survivability against the Anti-Mage. But even with 3 heroes there, including the hard carry, they just weren't able to shut down the OD. Doing so well here. Now Tower's going to take some hits, probably is going to drop. 3 heroes dead. They might even go for the Rax Tower as well.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
And Tide stealing all the farm, level 14. Great items on Tide, very tanky. Plague Ward's up to try to slow down the push. There is the Pipe Pop though, so no nukes are going to slow them down at all. They have about 8 seconds for the Sunstorm Spear. It's actually going to jump out very briefly. And a couple more hits. Tower is going to drop. Still waiting for the Anti-Mage. They do not want to fight before that. There's a great vacuum as well. Gale is going to land. Metal ulti, and there comes the Blink Epicenter. So many ultis. Black Hole as well catching 2. TC looking for the nukes. Tinager almost going down, but nice roar from the Beastmaster. A couple more hits, and it looks bad for him. He goes down. Venomancer dropping. Ulti from Jo, picking off the Ranger. He does get banished. Looking for maybe a blink out. We will see. Is going to Manta split. Looking for the mana drain, and man, the pure damage so high. 400 illusion damage, drops those illusions down so fast, and good game is called by Complexity. They're going to take the loss here. The OD doing excellent this game, shutting down the Anti-Mage. Perfect demonstration of Outworld Destroyer being an Anti-Mage counter. I think there was very little that Complexity could have done better in this game. The maybe had a little bit more successful ganking. I just think that the picks of the of Epidemic, it gave them just a little bit too much of an advantage in the team fights. The Tide Ravage, the Black Hole, plus OD on top of that. OD countering the Anti-Mage. OD having huge AoEs, and Complexity is going to back out and take the loss. So, what an excellent game. That was really fun to watch. Great plays by Epidemic. They take out Complexity. Not something I necessarily expected to happen, but they are apparently doing very, very well. Lots of very talented players and awesome drafting as well. Good lanes. And they played this game very, very well. So, we'll wait for the old DCs. There's the Shivas up on OD. This is a very, very good item progression. I love the mech first. That was very smart. Mech first just to play it safe, just so he doesn't get killed early. 4 staff after, and then you go into the major damage items. So, we'll see if he ultis. See who he can kill with the one ulti. Okay, there we go. So as you guys can see, OD's ulti does a lot of damage. It's pretty much 80% of their life at this point when you have this many items. So picks up the triple for free. And actually, Hannah Montana did disconnect. So we'll see the game screen in a second, guys. We'll be back in just a bit. Some more awesome Dota 2 content. I believe we have another game after this one. While we're hanging around, go check out ghostygamers.net for all of your Ghostu Bet and esports coverage. You can check me out on YouTube, youtube.com/purgegamers, and also Facebook or Twitter. Those are also great places to follow me whenever I end up streaming. I always post that on my stream. So that's the victory. Here's the final score screen. Great plays by Epidemic, sorry. And we'll be back in just a second, guys. Don't go near.